All right, welcome to another Small Business Pivots. And if you've ever watched the show, no one can say their name or their business like the business owner. So I let you have the stage, my friend, to tell us about you.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate you having me on your program. My name is Chris Hallberg. My personal branding is the Business Sergeant. I spent almost a decade in a couple of different uniforms, military and paramilitary uniforms, became a sergeant at a very ripe age, so got thrown into the leadership circle in my lower 20s and learned a lot and took that fired up, direct, sometimes humorous but mission-focused process to the civilian business world. In 2017, I dropped a book called The Business Sergeant's Field Manual, Military-Grade Business Execution Without the Yelling and Push-Ups. So taking the team-building ethos from the military and sliding that in works just fine to the civilian side, but keeping out the parts that don't naturally slide, that don't match up puzzle piece-wise, because you'd be in the HR office half your time if you did this stuff. Like hazing is definitely not allowed in the civilian business world, shouldn't be involved in the military world, but we all know that, taping your platoon leader to a cannon and firing it, or, hog tying someone 10, 20 feet in a tree is perfectly acceptable behavior. In fact, your troops will never do that if they don't like you. So like if you haven't been hazed, that means, okay. But staying on point here, Michael, what I do today is I help business owners and leaders gain traction. So I do that primarily through being an expert EOS implementer. It is an incredible operating system to help businesses align and synchronize all the moving parts of their business. So that's like when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. Everybody needs EOS. Okay. Like take that with a grain of salt, but the EOS guy's like, it's good for you. Like I haven't seen it really not work ever unless someone decided they didn't want it to work. Those are the only cases. So like not too many things with that level of certainty. So as a coach, it's a tool that I use to make sure that we get our arms around the entire enterprise, because it's a holistic operating system. And we can talk about the 6 key components in a little bit, but EOS Implementer, my primary focus. I also have recently launched an agentic AI-powered business operating system platform called GoExpand. And then my Business Sergeant, right? I have an online course if people want to have that. So I have an online course for people to learn how to be a leader with a Business Sergeant mentality. I coach EOS, turn people onto EOS, and we have software to glue it all together. So if you have the right mindset, you have a business operating system, and you have a tool to keep it together. That's how I help larger organizations. So I generally work with folks, 10 million to $1 billion a year in annual revenue. Anywhere where there's a big group of people wanting to do cool stuff, that's where you need these 3 things.
Very cool. Well, I know that all big businesses started small, and so we've got some small business owners that want to get to that level. So I do believe, in my mind, they have the right mindset because they're here listening to us. But let's introduce the show real quick, and then we'll get to the meat on the bone.
Let's do that.
Welcome to Small Business Pivots, a podcast produced for small business owners. I'm your host, Michael Morrison, founder and CEO of Boss, where we make business ownership simplified for success. Our business is helping yours grow. Boss offers business loans with business coaching support. Apply in minutes and get approved and funded in as little as 24 to 48 hours at businessownershipsimplified.com. All right, welcome back to Small Business Pivots. I know for a lot of our business owners that listen to podcasts, they kind of like to be relatable to our guest. Any upbringing stories you've got of kind of like what got you where you are today so that they can kind of follow that same path?
Yeah, I have a T-shirt. It says "Wooden Spoon Survivor." So typical child of the 70s and 80s, would leave for days. There were no phones. There was just the ability to explore. So like I actually feel pretty bad for kids, even though they have answers to the world's questions within seconds at their fingertips. The just going out and disconnecting and exploring and discovering they're just like, I heard the other day someone said, an emergency room physician, like we don't get half the broken bones we used to for kids. Like it's really hard to fall off a chair playing PlayStation and hurt yourself. So like I would say, My superpower is I got to be a kid without technology and a teenager kind of with some, and then an adult where it's everywhere. So like being just a Gen X person, I think is a superpower because we kind of had life before life as we know it and now. So we have a different perspective where the recent generations just really have the now and really don't understand the past. And that could be a good thing. That could be a negative thing. But I think anyone that has that perspective and gets both sides and has been able to function in the new world while retaining the essence of the old way of doing things, I think that's really powerful. And I would say it contributes greatly to the perspective I give. Now that I'm like 52, almost 53 years old, like someday you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I got a lot of gray in my beard. And people are like, okay, great. Let's get some experience. Chris, what do you think? I'm like, oh, I'm not the new guy. I'm not young anymore. Like I'm the old guy. People are asking advice. Like what happened to me? So it happens quickly. So like basically that's a long answer, but I think philosophically, your upbringing, your life experience, like how you see the world, how you process adversity, like that's what's really important when you're a small business owner and you want to build a great company. It really comes back to that mindset.
You were the wooden spoon guy. I was the dishwashing soap guy.
Ooh,
I got the
okay.
dishwashing soap. So if you know, you know. For those of you that don't know what the wooden spoon's about, the dishwashing soap, all that other stuff, the belt, then go look it up. And you mentioned push-ups earlier. I think some of our business owners could probably use some push-ups from time to time to hold them accountable and discipline them to get them to do these things, because you and I have talked, and that's kind of one of the things. You either want to do it or you don't. It's not just going to happen. So let's kind of start with the early adapter of an entrepreneur, right? For most of us, all big businesses start small and almost every business gets stuck. And that's where I think a lot of our listeners are. And we were talking earlier, you've got some information, some insights that you'd like to share with them.
Yeah, before I give any of those like relevant tips or tricks or observations that I see, right, for people that are in that space, I just want to talk high level about the 6 key components of EOS, because I'm going to want to anchor back to that. So I think if we do this in the right order, it's probably better for everybody. So Gino Wickman is the creator of the Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS. This stuff's been out for about 20 years. It's all based on his book, Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business. So that's the assignment. Everyone get your hands on it. If you haven't read it, I'm guessing quite a few people in this space know about this. But if you don't know about this, thanks, Michael Morrison, for bringing this to them. This is usually one CEO to the other, bumps the other one on the shoulder and says, hey, this book, you got to read this. No, it's not like you don't understand. This one's special. It is literally the silver bullet for business. And I'm not overselling that. And I'm sure EOS Worldwide's like, you can't say that. But this is a personal opinion that I'm expressing, that there are 6 key components of any business. I don't care if you got a lemonade stand or a Fortune 500 juggernaut. You have 6 key components. So I like to joke EOS is CrossFit for business. And if you do these 6 exercises, you will look like an action figure. So here we go. First key component. And again, doesn't matter your size. It matters your ability to make these 6 things strong. And when they're strong, everything else that is pushing against your business and causing you pain goes away. So Gino talks about there's only 136 problems in business. So if we can strengthen these 6 core muscles, there's no oxygen, fuel, or heat, the fire triangle, for those problems to burn. So like, that's why this is like, we're going to go right to the root of all your issues. I'm not overselling this. Pay attention. First one, vision component. Getting you, your management team, your leadership team, and the greater team, 100% opted in to this vision. 100% opt in, 100% opt out. Not, I like half of this, so I'm going to do my own little thing here. I'm going to change this. I don't agree with this, so I'll do this. No. Companies are buses, not an Uber. Don't let your people treat your bus like an Uber. That's not how buses work. So 8 questions, core values. Who are we? timeless set of principles to talk about the behaviors that are acceptable. Value diversity, not cool. Diversity, super cool. But people that don't care about what you care, paying people to go the opposite direction, that's exactly what you're doing. I know it sounds crazy when I say it, but people do it all the time. I see it all the time. And I point it out because, everyone sees their tree, their company, knows every piece of bark, every knot. That's your tree. I'm a forest ranger. I look at trees all day. Your tree's got disease, and this is how you fix it. So just understand there's no ugly babies in the nursery, but everyone needs to really think about what vision and are you sticking to it? And are you getting a bunch of people that all feel the exact same way? And that's the actual power. So 8 questions: core values, who are we, core focus, why we do what we do, marketing, 10-year target, which is just a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal, right? So that's like 5 to 35 years. Let's call that the North Star, stuff that keeps us focused when times get tough, and times are always tough in business, right? Then after that, we get a marketing strategy. Like, what's our demographic, geographic, and psychographic? Don't ever spend money on someone that isn't the ideal client profile for you, okay? And then what are your 3 uniques? At EOS, it's vision, traction, and healthy. Well, it turns out you need all 3 of those. So why not get one program that does all 3 versus 3 disparate programs that bring it to you in, 12 days a year versus 4 days a year, or 16 days a year, I guess would be the right math on that. And then we say 3-year picture, and we call it a picture because there's 2 sides to this vision traction organizer document that I'm referring to. The first side's the vision side. And the 5th question, the last one on that side, is what is your 3-year picture? Top line, bottom line, big measurables, dream sequence, Wayne's World. What does it look like? Like, we're sitting in a room, it's December 31st, 2028. Like, we're reviewing our year, this happened. And that's a great experience. We close our eyes and we visualize it. Do you see it? I saw it. Okay, great. Now that we have that vision, flip over the document. There's 3 questions on the traction side. And the first one, what's your 1-year plan? Now that we create a 3-year vision, a picture, what's the real plan? What is the right trajectory we need to be on at the end of 1 year to get to 3 years? And then every year we will recast the stone or the stick out 3 years and 1 year. Then we'll move towards it. Then we'll throw it again 3 year, 1 year. It's just backwards, military backwards planning, bracketed. It's a powerful, powerful tool. So your 10-year target, right? Your BHAG, your 5 to 35 year core target, you set that once. And you hit it or you don't hit it. You put that into stone. The 3-year and the 1 year, you redo that. And then once we have a 1-year plan, we go to the 7th question. What are your quarterly rocks? So if you're familiar with quarterly rocks, it's the late Dr. Stephen Covey talked about these big priorities, but do the big rocks first. There's the 2 glass cylinders, right? The rocks, the pebbles, the sand, and the water. If you've ever seen that, if you haven't, Google Dr. Covey, a rock experiment it's really cool to watch him do that. All right. So then the 8th question, what are our long-term issues? What are our issues? Long-term issues are issues, but there are things we can't solve until we do some other things. So we measure them. It's good therapy to write them down. And then every quarter we graduate them onto a short-term issues list for solvents. So there it is, 8 questions. If everyone can say those are the 8 things, opt 100% into this or 100% out of that, that is the number one problem in business right there, is people don't know what they're supposed to do. And if you haven't communicated explicitly and said this is good, this is bad, they are doing their level best. And that is a failure in communication. It's also back to accountability. If people aren't committed because they see this vision as something they really want to do, holding them accountable is actually impossible. If people aren't committed, they don't really care. So you can't hold somebody accountable and take something away that they don't value. If they're excited, they get the opportunity to be surrounded by like-minded people on a similar mission, that's something worth losing. That's a special place to go for 8 to 10 hours a day. So first key component of the 6, that's the vision component. The second part of that, first part is the 8 questions. The second part, that it's shared by all. Not shared by some, shared by few, shared by all. So I'm just going to let that hang there. That's the big one. Second one, the hardest one, people, because we're all perfectly imperfect. Everyone shows up a little broken in their own special way, and that's okay. But what we really want to talk about is the right people. Right people share your core values. Now we're talking, good to great, Jim Collins again. Right seats, using EOS terminology. EOS is full of acronyms. That's why military people love EOS. GWC, get, want, and have the capacity. Right people share your core values. Right people, GWC, their seat. That's what we're looking for. There are 4 combinations. That's the one we want. The next most common one is the right person in the wrong seat. Hey, you, come here. Do you know how to do this? Well, kind of. Great. You're the best I got. Get in there. And then a year later, hey, I think so-and-so's failing. We should maybe think about like what's going on. Like, hello, this person did you a solid, right? And you never trained him. So that's your failure, not theirs. That's the right person in the wrong seat. As long as they're the right person, we can find them another seat on the bus, as long as they get, want, and have the capacity to do it. So that's important. And then the third one is the wrong person in the right seat. That's the brilliant jerk, energy vampire, super profitable, productive. They walk in the room, everyone scatters. So can't really build a world-class team if we curate jerks. So the last one is the wrong person in the wrong seat. That's the oxygen thief, the energy vampire. They're easy to spot. No, like they don't fit. And everyone needs to redo everything. So like actually not having them show up makes the team go faster than actually having them on the team. So those are the 8 questions in the vision. And then we say right people, right seats in every position. Once you get to about 90% right people, right seats, they'll clear out the last 10. But if you have 25, 20%, 75%, 80% right people, right seats, that's still enough of a foothold for you not to get what you want from your business, because we have this group that looks like they're with you, but particularly they're not. And that's why we keep missing numbers and having less than profitable quarters. Third key component, data component. How do I know I got the right people in the right seats? Well, they're doing what you want them to do, not what they want to do. That's fun. The actual ugly stuff buried in work boots and overalls, the stuff that actually makes the company money, makes the clients happy. So like, don't tell me, I want to know monthly how we're doing, but EOS is like a weekly activity brings a monthly result. So we can get into that a little bit later, but that's it for now. And then, so we create a scorecard. So we have people agree. So don't just have an expectation. Can you bring 10 units a week? Yeah, I got you. Somebody brings you 9 units. You can look at them like, hey, what happened? You agreed to 10. Like, you got to own that. Not, oh, you never told me I had 10. Big difference. So right person, right seat needs to be verified through a scorecard, and then giving everyone a measurable, a number they hit. When they hit that number, I'm a full teammate. I carried my water. I'm good. I can sleep like a baby this weekend. I don't have to worry about being replaced because I'm not getting the job done. So basically, that's the data component. When you're strong in vision, strong in people, strong in data, you're open and honest. Issues stick out. The issues component, the fourth key component. It's just an issue. Issues aren't just problems. They can be opportunities. They're things we need to discuss and solve for the short-term or long-term greater good of the company. That's simple. And then we have a very structured way: identify, discuss, and solve, IDS. A lot of people are good at the discussion part, but they're not good at identifying the root issue. So they end up solving the symptom, and that's why it reoccurs again and again and again. And that's why you're really good at solving the same issue. It's Groundhog's Day. You haven't removed the conditions. It's going to just come back, and that's why you're so frustrated. So that would be the issues component. Fifth key component is the process component. Just simplify this. Checklist, outlines, go fast ways. The 20% that gives you the 80%, and then it's FBA followed by all. It's not optional. If we found a way to do it that the customers like it, it's profitable, it's scalable, we're not messing with that. If you don't want to do that, you can't work here. Like, that's the deal. So I find often like, yeah, we have a process, but some people don't want to follow it. Well, that's because it's optional. And when I hear people say that, I'm just like, you're the issue. You've made it optional. Opt in or opt out. It's a very simple thing. That's what happens with emails. If someone sends you a bunch of emails you didn't ask for, that's called spam. Why are you spamming your people? They need to opt in or opt out. And once they're opt in, you can do what you need to do until they decide to opt out. But if half your company hasn't opted in, you might want to look at that. There's like 7 billion people in the world, and the people on this call are all under 100 people, maybe under 10 people. If you have under 10 people, then everything I'm saying amplifies. that like having one or two of the wrong people in the wrong seats for a 6-person company is debilitating. Having two of the wrong people in the wrong seat at a 25-person company is debilitating. So this is not to be trifled with. You literally have 7 billion people to pick from, and you got 5. You better pinch yourself that all 5 are in it to win it. They ride for the brand. They bleed your corporate colors. Anything short of that, I don't like your odds. So where do we go? Left out process. Last one, traction component. 6th and final key component. It's the opposite side. Vision without traction is hallucination.
You're listening to Small Business Pivots. This podcast is produced by my company, Boss. Our business is helping yours grow. Boss offers business loans with business coaching support. Apply in minutes and get approved and funded in as little as 24 to 48 hours at businessownershipsimplified.com. If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share it as well. Now let's get back to our special guest.
So where do we go? Left out process. Last one, traction component. 6th and final key component. It's the opposite side. Vision without traction is hallucination. Oh, by the way, I like to joke vision. I got a semi truck out back. It's 10 cents a pound. How many pounds do you want? Traction is $10,000 a carrot. How many carrots can you acquire? So there's no shortage of vision. It's the traction that makes it important. And the traction component is about creating a 90-day world. Humans get off track every 90 days. So every 90 days, we say, this is how you're living your core values. This is how you're GWC in your seat. And this is how you're helping out with rocks. And rocks are the second part of the 6th key component. Creating that 90-day world, those strategic initiatives. How do you change the wheels on a moving bus? We do it with rocks. Rocks are just priorities, but usually they're strategic initiatives outside the day-to-day. When done, give you new capacity, new capability. So that's a lot, but those are the 6 key components. So if you got a vision, everyone's like totally clear, in it to win it. Everyone at the company is the right person. They care about what you care in a business setting. That we are not arguing about anything. We are all focused on that VTO, the Vision Traction Organizer, because of the first key component we said yes to. And we're all amazing at what we do because we have scorecards, the data component, and it's green, and we're above 100%. And then if we have an issue or just need to have a discussion on anything, we can do that. And then we're going to have some process. Once we've solved these issues and we have the scorecards, we've got it locked in. We've got it actually figured out. We just need to follow the playbook. That's the process. And then traction is creating that 90-day world, understanding that I move companies from here to there. And EOS Implementer spend about 2 years with clients, right? And that's 8 quarters. So how do I move you from here to there? 90 days at a time. Click, 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 click. So where we want to be in 3 years determines what we're going to do in a year, and then we're going to reset that for a couple of years. That's how we keep it tight. So do you see where I'm going with this? Now we have these meetings. We're getting these strategic initiatives done off to the side, preparing ourselves for further greatness. Imagine if everyone understood that your business has these 6 key components. You can go to organizationalcheckup.com right now and take it. It's 20 questions, 1 to 5. If you're not lying to yourself, you'll probably be somewhere around 30%. That's what an average business, even ones making money with employees. You'd be shocked if I told you some brands that I've worked with that started in the 30s, and we graduate them in the 80s or 90s is kind of our job as the EOS Sherpa. So the reason I give you that thing is that's what you need at a minimum to be a viable business in today's modern age. So if you're listening and you don't have that all figured out, this only takes a couple of days to write all this down and commit. This is months to really do the work correctly. But if you're sub maybe 2 million in sales, 10 employees, we have a self-implementers academy at EOS Worldwide. That's where most of the folks on this call are going to go, and they're going to get some EOS training, and then you're going to get a software app, hopefully GoExpand, the one that I'm associated with, and then you can do this EOS stuff on your own. And then when you get big enough and you can afford, right, a Sherpa to come in and look at your EOS and tighten that up, then there's 850 around the world ready when you're ready. So people are ready for an implementer when they're ready, but they don't need. Gino put out the book, high level, just read traction, you'll have it. But when you go to the Self-Implementer Academy, you go through a very similar process. You just don't have the sage advice. You have, your experience plus the pure way to implement this. So it is totally accessible for everyone at this current size, and I highly recommend. It's much easier to implement when you're small and use the principles to be safe and healthy and expand your company, not extend one particular part without the support of the other. So it's a holistic process, and it is an absolute game changer. I've never seen a tool work like this one. Now, you can do it wrong like anything else, but almost have to go out of your way. It's very simple and it's very powerful, but you got to commit to the holistic nature. And once you understand that, you will start to see traction within 3 to 6 months, night and day difference. Within 2 years, you can be an award-winning company, literally a top 1%, 90-some% employee engagement. My clients have won literally, close to 200 individual best places to work award. And you cannot write a check for these. This is where an anonymous survey goes to your entire employees. And if they don't like a single thing, trust me, they're gonna express that in a fully anonymous workplace survey. So having a third party look at a bunch of my work just says, listen, like, these are the results. Amazing system, but you got to commit to it and you got to make the hard decisions. And the second big issue, you haven't asked me, but I'm just going to throw it in as a bonus, is hanging on to the wrong people too long, especially when you're small, conflating your personal relationship with your business relationship. We can get into that, but not having an operating system is making it up every day. I don't like your odds. On the operating system, your odds increase exponentially when you shore up those 6 key components. And if you have the right mindset, and then thirdly, a tool to actually watch the change happen and ensure it's happening, and having that real-time feedback of an active performance score, an active alignment score, and an active engagement score, an actual number, a score that you can just look at. The reason I created the app is to really help with the subjectivity. Some of my teams just instantly get it. Yeah, I see it. They don't get it, or they do get it. Other people are like, come on, I'm not sure. How would you know that? So this is really about setting context and simplifying and making things very objective. The subjectivity is killing you. Make everything as black and white as you can. The gray, the middle part, that's where companies die. There's an old saying, the road to business failure is paved with squirrels that could not decide.
I love it. Woo! That's like a fire hose, listeners.
Yeah, sorry about that, but it's a lot of information. That usually takes about 90 minutes to download that. That was the accelerated talk.
Well, so we mentioned people, and I'm just going to kind of poke and prod in a couple areas. Working with these small businesses, I feel like the two things that really hit home, or it should for the business owners, is lack of clarity and wrong people, right? That's so many business owners seem to be at that stuck level. And we had a situation just this week where they had no clarity. It's family owned business, right? We all get along, and there's some people that are part of that, outsiders, and we just kind of come in when we want. We drink our water cooler, all that stuff. Well, we force them to tell us what you want, Mr. Business Owner, in 3 years. And he had this astronomical number. And the girl that was kind of the cancerous, she said, I don't want to work that hard. And she left. and he was like, what do I do? And I said, well, now you can achieve that goal. The one person that's holding you back is gone now. And you didn't have to fire her or anything. She left because you were crystal clear on what you want and what we're going to do to get there. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Anything?
Yeah, it's like you cannot accommodate. You can't get 10 people and say, where do you want to go for lunch? Where do you want to go for lunch? And then everyone get what they want. Like, if we're going to go as a team, we have to pick a restaurant, and then the team goes to that. And I suppose we could pick 2 spots. The people like this go there, but that's not really a team dinner anymore, is it? Right. So it's really that simple. And whenever I hear it, yeah, we can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, with that attitude, you're 100% right. I believed you when you said that. So I actually believe we can, because I have some peers. I've been in business for a while, and my competitors are doubling their company every 3 years. We're not. And my chief growth officer says, exact quote, I don't want to work that hard. So I just found the issue. It's you. And we want to grow that hard. We want to work hard. You don't want to do that? Hit the little thing, let the bus, air brakes, door opens off. Like, good luck to her. I'm happy that conversation happened because she would have not been happy with where they're going. So this is actually a way for her to win, the team to win because they don't have that limitation, and the company can win. But what's really exciting to me, Michael, is we don't think about this, and why I say you don't need to hang on to the wrong people for more than a minute. As soon as you come to the realization, oh my God, this is not the right person, and they're not in the right seat. As soon as you get that, not having that conversation the next day, that's where your business starts to die, when you don't say anything for 30 days, 90 days, a year, 2 years. My point is, when you hang on to the wrong person, you're stealing the opportunity from the right person who's suffering at a bad company with a bad boss, and they would thrive in your organization, and this place would light up like a Christmas tree as soon as they got here, considering the attitude of the last one. And oh, by the way, when you say, oh, they didn't have to fire them, I hear that all the time. That is not a badge of honor. When someone is the wrong person and they take themselves out, they're showing you mercy. They are literally doing you a favor. You should never let someone do you a favor. You should be proactive and do what's right for the business. And that includes the existing teammates. The hiring the wrong person, putting up with poor accountability. If I have 4 people that really care and 1 that doesn't, man, that is the most disrespectful thing I can do to the 4 that get it, want it, have the capacity, are here, fully bought into my VTO, and someone else, you're asking to go out of business. You are asking to not be profitable by allowing that to happen. We don't grow weeds next to award-winning, flowers, roses, tulips, those kinds of things. We don't.
Yeah. No, great stuff. So on the clarity, I know for a lot of business owners, in your experience, does that come from the team? Does that come from the business owner? I mean, obviously it's his or her business, but how do they gather that information? Because I know a lot of small business owners are struggling with, I can't even think 3 years from now. I'm just trying to figure out how to make payroll this week and put out these fires and stuff. So how can they see past what they already have, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So you don't get to grow just because you stick around, right? You might get 0.5% or a percent just for being here another year. So I guess there is some benefit to not dying, right? Being in business, right? For 5 years, that, it's a snowball. It gets bigger at the bottom of the mountain. The higher up you start, the bigger it gets. However, it's okay to be operating the business in the year and week you live in. But, back to the payroll, are you balancing profit and growth? So let's talk about the rule of 30. And this is something that not a lot of people talk about unless you're a funded VC or a startup or a Silicon Valley person. But basically the rule of 30, and it could be the rule of 20 or 40 or whatever you want it to be, but rule of 30 seems to be a reasonable place to start. And what the rule of 30 is essentially is you take your growth percentage. We're going to grow 10%. We're going to go from 1 million to 1.1 million next year. You take your growth percentage and your profit, your EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, like the entrepreneurial scorecard, EBIT or EBITDA, whatever you're looking at. So basically, if you're going to grow 30%, you're going to make $0. You're going to break even. If you're going to grow 20%, you're going to make 10% EBITDA. If you're not going to grow at all, you're going to make 30% EBITDA, and you're going to have a cash machine. You're going to get lean and mean and be super profitable. So it's really hard to grow 30% and be 30% EBITDA. It happens. I have clients that can pull that off, but these are experienced people that have crossed many gates before they get to me, and then I continue to help bolster them for continued demands of stratospheric growth. Oh, by the way, if you don't have those 6 key components fully locked down and you try to double your company, that's going to hurt. You might get away with it, but you might not live, right? It's not. You're not killing companies through starvation. It's through indigestion. Back to Jim Collins, a quote that he has, by trying to eat too many things. So all this stuff is connected, right? at the end of the day. But the vision comes from the owner, and the nucleus, the core of the team is like, oh my gosh, if this was my company, I'd want the same thing. Like, I don't have $1 million to start a company, or I don't have the stress profile to deal with payroll. I just want to, be an executive or a manager. And this vision lines up perfectly with my personal vision. So I get to be the same person at home as I get to be at work, because my natural strengths can be flexed here. The mission of this organization is near and dear to my heart. It's not just about the money. I generally love being surrounded by normal people for 8 to 10 hours a day. The world's crazy. Half the world thinks this, the other half thinks this. Like, a company is just a microcosm of the world. How about we provide a third of someone's life that isn't dysfunctional? People say, oh, I want my company to be like a family. I'm careful. Most families are dysfunctional, right? Yeah. So, like, wishing that on a second place of dysfunction, I don't think that's a good selling point. How about you are the place where people can come, where common sense is king? We trust, respect each other, we lift each other up, we hold each other accountable. And if you've ever been on a high performing team, whether that's an athletic team, a military team, an academic team, a great teammate will never let their teammate down. They will go through pain and suffering personally, and they'll make that sacrifice for the greater good. A poor teammate will always sacrifice the team for their personal comfort. So even if your business isn't in the life or death business, having a mindset like this is important, because failing in business, you might wish you were dead, quite frankly. Like, one of the hardest times of my life is when I crashed a company. A company that everyone said, oh, this is going to be a winner. You're a genius. Like, yeah, that echo chamber, all thought that was a great idea. The market, they thought otherwise, right? I needed another $50 million and about 5 or 6 years of education to change and disrupt an industry. Was a way bigger task than we thought it was. But it was a humbling experience. And the other thing is it's hard to tell somebody who's making 7 figures in income annually that they're wrong about anything. It's usually after a good failure is when entrepreneurs are really open, really humbled, and understand, they don't have a cape or X-ray vision, and we're all just trying to figure it out at the end of the day. But you asked, and that is how it works. Is there has to be a nucleus, and it's one. And finding people that are like, I'm like 94% into your vision, I could probably deal with that. I'm like 22% into your vision, I most definitely can't deal with that.
Yeah, that's golden advice. I know you've whet the ears of all of our listeners. They probably want to know where they can find you, hook up with you. Are you on social media? Do you offer blogs? Yeah,
send me a LinkedIn invite. Chris Hallberg. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. If you want to email and talk to me, Chris at GoExpand.com is a quick, short one to give you. The Business Sergeant website is where people can get the online course. And then, of course, they can go to EOS Worldwide /Chris Hallberg, and I think that they can find me there. And love to connect with people, and send me an email, send me a question. Love to engage with your listeners.
Is your platform GoExpand? Is that for those that have gone through the entire EOS system?
Yeah, it's whether you're self-implementing through the Implementer Academy, or you're working with a professional certified or expert implementer. And then if you're not even an EOS fan, you just want a generic operating system. We have a non-EOS version as well. But, the majority of the people signing up are EOS friendly. I've launched it to the EOS community. My 850 fellow implementers it's brand new. We just only been out for a few months. So we're just migrating some clients over, getting feedback. It's really been going well, but it's software. The stuff's never done, but right. It's certainly ready for prime time, and we're enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, it looks very helpful. So I encourage our listeners to A, buy the book, B, go follow you, connect with you on LinkedIn, check out the software. And lastly, I want to thank you for your service as well, and all the good things you're doing and sharing with our communities in the entrepreneurial world. I always kind of end with the last question, and that is, if you're in a room of business owners, different sizes, different seasons, different income levels, What's one last thing that could be applicable to all of them? It's an insight, a quote, one last book or experience that you've had.
If you want to make a horrible decision, ask everybody.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. And part two to that is stick to your guns. I see a lot of people give up just like literally minutes before it was going to happen. So I know it sounds cliche, but you're the entrepreneur. Like no one cares like you do. Everyone can just get another job. You might have to live under an overpass for, you know what I mean? Like taking yourself, it's like this, you've got it all on the line. And when your gut's like, I know this is the right thing, you might not just have the right people around you. So I'm going to go back to that, because when you find your puzzle pieces, the people that line up with you, man, this is fun. When you are fighting internally your very own people to execute your vision, man, you're just making this way harder than it needs to be. And well, by the way, it's already hard enough. So let's not borrow pain from the future. There's plenty today.
Absolutely. Well, you've been a wealth of information today. I appreciate you and wish you continued success.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening to Small Business Pivots. This podcast is created and produced by my company, Boss. Our business is growing yours. Boss offers flexible business loans with business coaching support. Apply in minutes and get approved and funded in as little as 24 to 48 hours at businessownershipsimplified.com. If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share it as well. If you need help growing your business, email me at michael@michaeldmorrison.com. We'll see you next time on Small Business Pivots.